At the end of Season 1 of Hazbin Hotel, Lilith is revealed to have made some sort of deal in order to get into heaven, leaving behind Charlie, Lucifer, and the many sinners that she ruled over in hell. I completely misread this situation in my first video, but thanks to everyone who responded, I now understand that Lilith likely made a deal with Adam in particular to get into heaven. Today, we're going to talk about what that deal might have been. My name is Deepcut, subscribe to avoid me making a bad joke about why you should subscribe. Now, in the show, Lilith's story so far is a combination of various sources, the two most notable being the 13th century Jewish Zohar and the earlier medieval text, the Alphabet of Ben Sirach. The Zohar gives us the oral tradition that surrounds the Torah, or the first 5 books of the Bible, where Lilith is explained to be Adam's first wife who ended up marrying a fallen angel, becoming the mother of demons, similar to how Lilith married Lucifer in the show. The earlier text, the Alphabet of Ben Sirach, is considered a lot less serious, and was more an attempt to reinvent some of the Jewish lore as opposed to transcribe an existing oral tradition, though some of that was obviously included. This is where Lilith would first appear so blatantly as Adam's first wife, this connecting the character of Adam to another existing tradition in the culture that held Lilith as a sort of sexual demon who haunts men's dreams and is also known to torment women giving birth and young infants. I've talked about both of these texts in previous videos, but it wasn't until I read this comment by YouTuber user Oracle Site that I realized just how important one line from the Alphabet of Ben Sirach may be, particularly because its context would be reversed within the show. With this particular passage being interesting because it seems to be some of the inspiration for the show while also being a bit of a reversal of the show's lore. According to this story, when Lilith fled Eden, God sent 3 angels after her and said that she had 2 choices: return to Eden or stay in the wild and 100 of your children will die each day. Now, the idea of killing 100 demons or sinners each day is very similar to the annual extermination. In the show, Lilith and Lucifer give Adam's new wife the fruit of forbidden knowledge, which ends up opening hell and allowing evil into the human world. Because of this, Lucifer and Lilith are cast into hell, where Lucifer quickly becomes depressed with the outcome of his actions. He had gifted humans an opportunity to prove themselves, it seems, but in hell, he only sees the negative consequences of this, the people who did wrong on Earth, and then were sent somewhere where they could act even worse. Lilith, on the other hand, supposedly thrived and began singing to the people of hell, something that inspired the people. Lilith is a mysterious character, of course, so it's hard to say what really matters to her. The fact that she's in heaven and has seemingly abandoned her husband and child and is even trying to sabotage their projects, it would seem, paints her as an extremely evil person. It's hard to imagine a revelation that Lilith can give where she doesn't come off as not shallowly evil the way people might complain Stella from Hell of a Boss is, but more toxically evil. Stella is just a brat who doesn't get what she wants, so she tries to ruin everyone else's life. And while that may seem like what Lilith did to Adam with the Garden of Eden, she is more of a primal entity than Stella is. Some people complain that Adam is shallowly evil like Stella, but I disagree because of that same primal origin with Lilith. He is the first man, and the joke is that he represents the earliest of man and thus represents the worst of man in many ways. Lilith, created from the same dust as Adam, may not have actually ever been much better. While Lilith is viewed as a character who simply wanted equality, it would be poetic for her to be just as toxically evil as Adam, matching him on every level but in a feminine sense. What we have then is a sort of cosmic battle of the sexes where both sides are represented not by their best, but by their absolute worst. Whether Lilith truly loved singing and inspiring people, or was shallowly just chasing fame wherever she happened to end up, Adam was vengeful enough that he decided to use her singing against her. Early on, the extermination was said to be a population control tactic for hell, but it's been made abundantly clear throughout the series proper that it all started with there being worries of an uprising, specifically because of Lilith's singing. For all we know, there was nothing to worry about in terms of an actual uprising. The people may not have found hope in Lilith's singing in the sense of escaping hell, but perhaps they simply found happiness in it, enjoying her music and the story of her royalty that was undoubtedly woven into it, making hell a more hospitable place for them with her around. Adam would see that Lilith is enjoying herself in hell because of this, creating a world where she is still happy, and Adam would claim that this is creating the risk of an uprising to Sarah. Sarah seems very detached from hell, and seeing a change in the mood of the people of hell may have been enough to frighten her. It may have had her thinking about all the possible ways that this could go wrong, and ultimately had her leaning into Adam's interpretation out of fear. The story of the Extermination, then, really reflects the story in the alphabet of Ben Sirach. But then, why is Lilith seen in heaven with the Extermination still going on? If this was meant to match the alphabet of Ben Sirach letter to letter, then Lilith going to heaven should have stopped the annual extermination, finally returning to be under Adam's thumb. But that isn't what happened, so what's really going on here? Regardless of when the deal was made or what the deal was really for, I have to imagine that Lilith is playing a much longer con against Adam, and that is the nature of her character. While Lucifer was instrumental in giving the fruit of forbidden knowledge to Eve in the show, we can see that Lilith was there with him, and it was likely Lilith who convinced Lucifer to go against the other angels to do this, not to benefit humans like Lucifer wanted, but to ruin the order that Adam was set to rule. Now, while I said it would be very hard for there to be a revelation where all of this makes her the hero, there is one case where that could happen. Whether she negotiated for sinners or her own daughter, there's a possibility Lilith isn't nearly as evil as she seems, and instead, this was all one big plan to eventually get Adam dead. To a lot of fans, Lilith's deal with Adam appears to just have been that she would sabotage the hotel, with the key theory being that she is the one that Alastor sold his soul to. Both Alastor and Lilith went missing 7 years ago, and Alastor seems to indicate that the deal he made is what caused him to put his life on the line for Charlie. In the pilot, Alastor had seen Charlie's news broadcast on the TV, but didn't bother showing up at the hotel until just moments after Charlie left a voicemail on Lilith's phone. At this moment, Alastor teleports to be outside the door Charlie had just closed, and since he could have appeared at any moment before then, fans think it had to be because of that message that he suddenly went there. After Charlie called her mother and asked for help, she would send Alastor, who appears to be helping the hotel, but very likely could be trying to sabotage it even beyond what he has done to try and benefit himself and escape his strange soul deal. Now, of course, Lilith is known for her trickery, so as simple as the deal is on the surface, there is a bigger plan beneath all this, I think. When calling in her soul deal with Alastor, she may have had to word things very particularly to not go against any sort of magical handshake she made with Adam, but it very much seemed like Alastor's ultimate goal was not to sabotage the hotel or to simply protect Charlie, but very specifically to kill Adam. Alastor insists this is going to happen, refusing to even think that this could just end with Adam backing down even. It seems to me that whether Lilith explicitly told him so or not, Alastor knew that the important part of his deal was not just protecting Charlie, but killing Adam in particular. I believe Lilith hired Alastor specifically thinking he would have what it takes to defeat him in a final conflict, though in the end it was Nifty who managed to deliver the final blows after he was beaten to a pulp by Lucifer. Lilith, like I said, may have had to word all of this in a particular way with Alastor, and Alastor is not out of his deal just because Adam is dead, it would seem, but all of this seems to be the most likely option right now for what kind of deal Lilith made for Adam and how she was trying to use it against him. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and if thinking is too hard, just leave a comment saying ooh woo instead.